That glare is really bad. Mate, any more shit like this would be like an eclipse. Is that better? Is that a bit better now? You're not getting so much glare from my bald head. Anyway, so someone left a comment on my last video, right? The video where I'm explaining why to take one down and all of that. And I gave a little 20-minute talk, I suppose, on an article that really actually pissed me off. Anyway, the comment was what was it? I'll see if I can find it. Bear with me. I think it was like something like this should have pass a test to drive. Right, there we go. You have to pass a test to drive a car. You should be one to be a parent. Now here's the problem with that, and believe me, I've given lots of thought to this one, and there's no easy way around it. And I guess maybe I'm looking at it from a different perspective because I'm not in that situation. I don't have my little darlings. Can I have a quick rant before I go on to this? Yeah, your little darlings that hold everyone else's arse up while we're trying to go to work or come home from work, and you're holding us up because your little darlings, you're waiting to pick them up in your oversized carriage that is not designed for roads the size of the ones here in the UK. But let's not be ego driven and oh yeah, they look at us, and from my point, it's kind of quite funny because I see a lot of these chicks, and maybe it's a bit bad on my behalf, but fuck it, I don't care. They hold me up in the morning, they hold me up in the afternoon, they hold me up when I'm waiting in queues to go places with their little darlings, and it's just sort of like, you know what, I'm glad I'm not a part of that. Literally part of the pollution is all these kids going to school. Like, you're going to talk about ULEZ and shit like that, it's not the average person that's going to work, right? A lot of it is taking the kids to school, picking them up from school. And it doesn't matter whether it's the parents, the childminders, the nanny, the grandmother, it doesn't fucking matter. The point is, it's a thing. But I get it. I also get it. It's not like we have the best weather in the world all year round. So, and it's one of them. But digressing back onto the topic of, can you pass a test to be a parent? But here's my point with that. Just because you pass your driving test doesn't make you a good driver. It just means that you met the basic minimum requirements in order to pass the driving test. Right? I mean, I can't even begin to imagine how they'd start up a theory test for parenting. I suppose going the way things have been going, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like what's her face, that nurse that recently got done for murdering a load of babbies. It's just sort of like, it wouldn't surprise me someone like that is like head of the course or something like that. That's the sort of shit that would happen in this country. Like, I say it half jokingly because it's like, well, not being funny, all you got to do is take a look at political leaders to give some sort of insight as to the potential for the type of candidates that would have to be of a certain mindset to apply to become that kind of a professional. And I'm not talking about the politicians, I'm talking about the teachers, but yeah, just because you can pass a test for, like, say, driving doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good driver. Right? It doesn't mean that you're going to be competent. I mean, look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Now, personally, I consider myself to be a competent driver, right? Now, other people who might see me go, and I say this because, like, there's like, even on the way home from work today, it's like there's a bunch of consecutive S-bends along a certain road with a couple of straights. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure people are only looking like a foot in front of their bonnet. Right now, maybe it's because, like, riding motorcycles as well, you've got to know not what the car in front is doing, not the car in front of that. You need to know what is going on down the road. and anything on the sides, any potential dangers or hazards that might jump out or manoeuvre in your path or another vehicle's path, which might cause everyone to have to do a bit of abrupt braking. When your bumhole starts doing 5p, 50p. I don't know what that would be in American currency actually. If a dime is smaller in size than a dollar, it would be dime, dollar, dime, dollar, dime, dollar. Do you know what I mean? As you're clinging onto them brakes, hoping you can bring that vehicle to a stop. Yeah, your bumhole gets a bit twitchy. But, and I don't know if that's to do with it, but it's like these people, they're doing like 10 mile an hour below the speed limit. It's dry conditions, you can see clearly, you haven't got sun glare, there's nothing else on the road, it's just a bunch of consecutive S-bends. And for some unknown reason, these people decided that it was a necessity to slow down from 30 down to 25, despite the fact that the road is a 40 anyway. Now again, you'll notice I'm not saying these people need to be hooning it. I'm not saying that you need to be doing 60, 70. I'm not saying that. My point is I'm wondering how far ahead they're actually looking. Because it's not like they're driving aggressively or harshly in the first place in order to have to slam the anchors on. And this is it. They're not slamming the anchors on either. It's like they're going slow around it. It's like, what, do you think your car's going to topple over? You think your car's going to fall off the road? Are you scared to go around the bend? You're not looking too far, further enough ahead of you to see what's where? What's the score with this, right? So, from my point of view, these people are nothing but a menace because they irritate everyone else, right? And with that, these are the people that actually get other people to cause accidents, because other people just want to be on their way. They don't want to be stuck behind someone doing less than the speed limit and yada yada, right? And so some drivers, unfortunately, do take chances, and then obviously they end up, in a worst case scenario, they could have a collision, right? Or they might do some air quotes sketchy driving. But either way, a lot of the time you're going to get the slower drivers going, oh yeah, well he's driving really fast in his car. And it's like, well, you're driving really slow in yours and holding everyone else up, and everyone else is trying to get places. Appreciate that drivers like that might have all the time in the world to get where they're going. Maybe they're retired, or alternatively maybe they're retarded, just saying. But either way, so what? It just means you can do as you please and fuck everyone else's day. And then, like, if someone wants to overtake you, you've got a problem with that. It's like, well, if you weren't going slow in the first place, they probably wouldn't have overtaken. So you are the problem that caused all of that. But they couldn't possibly have that. No, I'm a safe driver. I was doing 20 and a 40. Yeah. Anyway, but you get my point. I know I'm having a bit of a rant about driving because it's one of my pet peeves. Like, I don't enjoy driving. Like, sometimes the lads say, oh, you coming out in the car? It's like, no, I'm not coming out in a fucking car. What do I want to do that for? Sit in traffic? Mate, if I want to listen to my music and go nowhere, I can sit at home and do that with a cup of tea in my hand. I don't have to sit in fucking traffic. You know what I mean? That's why mostly I use motorbikes. Just saying, because you're not sitting in traffic. You just go around it. It pisses a lot of people off, but it's like, well, fuck it. Rather than hating the biker, why don't you fucking join? Yeah? And you stop being such a pussy. Ditch the car and get yourself on a motorbike, and then use a car. This is it. Like, the car, generally speaking, I use if I'm doing shopping or something like that, and like stuff that it's not practical for me to carry on a motorcycle, I use the car. If not, most of the time I'm on the bike. Used to have more advantages before the it's way off topic, by the way. Before the mayor of this country, of the city, sorry, not of the country. He thinks he's mayor of the country. The mayor of the city, who doesn't listen to the people and all of that, but it's that catch-22 in it. It's like, well, you lot voted him in. I'm just saying. But he don't give a fuck. He's not affected by it. We just pay the money, and it makes the pollution go away. Yeah, I don't think so. He should be in court for theft or attempted theft, like fucking stealth tax or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, but the point is, people like, I mean, you're hearing the voices outside, right? Let me tell you, I've just walked back from town, and it's, from what I recall, two mums, both pushing pushchairs, both had, like, there's probably about 5 kids around them, right? So I don't know whether 2 is one and 3 is the other, or whichever way around. And I get this kind of makes me look a bit like a dick, but it's like, well, is what it is for starters. But like, can they competently provide their kids with a decent quality of lifestyle and a decent education? Or is this something that the taxpayer is doing for them? You know, I'm just saying, because that's a thing, right? That's a thing. And this is why a lot of sort of manosphere channels get a lot of hate when it comes to that, because they assume that we hate women. It's like, no. We're pissed off at the way things have panned out, and especially when you look at the amount of debt any given country has, and then you look at the amount of single parents that are receiving like benefits. And again, it's not that I want to, like, I'm going to speak for myself. It's not that I'm like a cold, callous person. It's just sort of like, well, actually, sometimes maybe I am, but it's like, look, if you're not in a financial position in the first place to bring a child up with a decent quality of lifestyle, right? Right, if the baby daddy ain't going to be hanging about because he's a typical, you know, Chad, Tyrone, Pookie or Ray Ray, whatever applies, yeah, right? And they make a stupid decision, the woman makes a stupid decision to bring a life in. Why should everyone else have to pay for that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, hang on a second. And it's not like I can really bring up an alternative way of making it work, because I actually can't think of one. Well, I can. It's just not going to be very popular on yours truly. You'll probably call me a heartless bastard or something, but, you know. But yeah, this is just it. Like, even a course in parenting isn't going to... It will give people the basics. I mean, look, a lot of women these days, they don't even know how to look after a fucking cat or a dog. And a lot of these people have unfortunately fucking brought children up into the world. Obviously against the child's will, needless to say. None of us had a say in whether we got here, or, you know, why we're here. You know, well, we know why we're here, because our parents decided to have a fucking stupid idea. Just saying. Anyway. No, let's not go there. Fuck it. Anyway, so yeah, I just want to do a sort of like a quick video, I suppose. Like, it wouldn't matter even if there were courses and tests available to become parents. It's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be competent or good at it. You know, it just means that they can pass a test. Then what you do after that is entirely up to you. You know, it's one of them things. But yeah. Right, I'll wrap this one up now. So I've had a bit of rant about all that shit and traffic and all of that. You know, so it fucks me off, mate. The amount, you know, it's like, I go past so many schools, and it's just like they sit there, they're waiting in the road, someone else has got to stop to give way, so it disrupts the traffic from the other direction. And, you know, none of this using coaches business. But then 2021 kind of threw that spanner in the works, didn't it? You know, don't go out and mix, stay 2 metres apart, all of that. You can't really chuck a bunch of kids onto a school bus all of a sudden. You know, if you have the intention of using that as some sort of a potential weaponised threat later on. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying. If that was to be the case, metaphorically speaking. Anyway, with all of that, just to comment ever so slightly on Mr. Brand's channel. You know, I stand by what I say. It's got fuck all to do with his past. It's been what he's talking about. I'm 100% sure it's been what he's talking about on his channel. Speaking of that, before I wrap it up, because I can't. I'm like a dog with a bone. Sometimes I just can't fucking let it go. You know what I mean? I can't. I'm like a tramp's hat kept on. And that is right. I heard this advert on the radio today. I was sat in a car. I was just waiting for some vehicles to move so I could get to where I was going, the radio on. And they're on about the flu jabs. And then at the end of the advert, they said, oh yeah, it's completely sponsored by whichever company. Can't remember. It wasn't any of the ones that had anything to do with the flu from 2021. Is a different one that I don't think I've heard of before. And I'm like, oh yeah, funny how you should sponsor your own advert. Yeah, funny that. Well, at least you're not getting the taxpayer to do it. I suppose that's something. Oh, hang on. No, we pay them anyway, don't we? All right, okay, yeah. So they did get the taxpayer to pay for it. Wankers. Speaking of wankers, some out there. So till the next, till the next one. Stay cool, stay free. Have a great weekend. Peace out.